Hey guys, this is Jennifer Vanderbeek from scrapsoflife.com, and in today's video I'm going to show you the 8 cards I made with the February Simon Says stamp Coffee, Tea, and Cocoa card kit. Now, of course, this is the February kit and this is June, so that tells you that I haven't exactly been keeping up with these kits. I actually stopped ordering them for a little bit because I had such a backlog, and I was trying to be a little bit better with my budget. But, you know, this was one of the cute ones that I really just had to have. The coffee cups and teacups were just awesome. And so I finally decided, after being prompted by Donut Day last week, that this was a really good time to go ahead and make some cards. Now, I'm not going to talk you through each individual card. I think they're pretty self-explanatory. I will point out if anything isn't, or if I think something needs to be talked about. But basically, I started getting these card kits because I saw what some other YouTubers I watch did with their kits. They would make 8 to 10 cards out of the kit, and I thought that was a really cool idea to have, you know, just to have cards prepared and just on hand whenever you might need them. I thought that was really cool. And, you know, it's always nice to kind of have a kit because it's not just a stamp set. You have things that are coming with it, and they kind of help inform some of your choices. Some of these cards, for instance, I probably wouldn't have made, like this first one with the little scene. You know, I might not have done that on my own. I might not have bought those papers, whatever. But I really like how it turned out. You know, that was just a simple one where I cut down one of the scenes on the pattern paper that came with the kit, and, you know, did a little bit of stamping on the background, and I'm using the On Point glue as kind of like a highlight of almost like a glossy medium or something. It works. That little tip, it just makes it so much simpler. I did take the, I guess, advice, if you want to go that way, of some of the other YouTubers that I've watched with the card kits, and using the 8.5 by 11 cardstock that they include in the kits as the card bases. I think that's a great way to use it up and have the coordinating bases already there for you. Of course, you could get much more out of these kits if you had card bases already made up out of just white or craft colored paper, and then you just divided the 4 sheets of cardstock in the kit into 4 card fronts. Then you could get 16 cards instead of 8. It's up to you. It's however you want to do it. I usually end up layering on the cards anyway. Now, one thing I will say, that if you're going to make a bunch of cards with a kit like this, and there are certain images in the stamp set that, like, you know, the to-go cup for the coffee cup, and then the regular, you know, normal cup and saucer, which could be coffee or tea or cocoa or whatever, I would say go ahead and do what I'm doing here and go ahead and stamp a bunch of them and do your coloring up front, because while initially I just needed one set of the 2 cups for card number 2 that I'm working on right now, I stamped extra because, well, you know, if one doesn't stamp perfectly right, or if you screw one up when you're coloring or painting, you know, that that can be a bit of a drag to have to start all over. But I went ahead and I colored all of them with the different colors that I'd stamped onto my acrylic block from the, I believe that's the Vineyard Kaleidocolor pad. And I just went ahead and colored them all and cut them all out. You'll see me do that in a second. And, you know, it just meant that I had them already prepped and ready to go, and it made the rest of the cards easier. I think I used all but one set, or close to. So, you know, this was a great time saver to go ahead and kind of gang up some of your stuff. Now, granted, it might you might want to go back and do it again, just because, you know, the colors you use in this first pass may not work with everything that you're going to do later on in the set. But I didn't worry about it too much. Coffee cups come in all sorts of colors, and I kind of used some earthy neutrals as well as, you know, the purple and stuff. I guess you couldn't really call that a neutral. But I think they worked okay with the papers that were in the kit. And of course, you can always vary your ink colors when you're stamping on your card bases or whatever you're doing. You know, I just think it works really well. You know, the sentiments that are in this coffee and tea stamp set, which the kit itself I believe is sold out. That ship has sailed. But as far as I know, the coffee and tea stamp set itself is still available on their website, simonsaysstamp.com. I'm not affiliated with them, by the way. This is not a sponsored or promo video or anything like that. I just happen to think that their kits are really stinking cute and wanted to play with them. Now, same thing I did with the stamps, and I stamped, you know, 4 sets of the images. I'm going to use the little die cut, which is adorable coffee cup die cut with the little face and the hands and the heart. So cute. I'm going to go ahead and I've cut that twice because I'm like, well, you know, if I'm going to use it once, I might use it a second time, which I did. And it saves me time away from the desk because I don't have my die cutter right there. I kind of have it up on a shelf, so I have to get it down and get it prepped and all that good stuff. Go ahead and cut some extras. You can always store them. And I cut it out of scrap I had laying around. This wasn't from the kit, but it all works. Now, I thought I was very, very brilliant to go ahead and use a pattern background paper for this card where the heart would make sense to have the cutout heart in the center of the little coffee cup showing through, and then I use the on-point glue to attach the little arms after I, you know, put some, I believe that's a rich cocoa memento marker, if I'm remembering correctly, and I use that to kind of make the edges there of the die cut a little bit more obvious and do some, you know, decorative stitching effect on there just with the pen detailing. But I think it kind of looks like he's holding a little heart, and I didn't have to worry about coloring or cutting out a separate color of cardstock with the die. That was a little shortcut I was kind of proud of myself for doing. And then usually in these kits, there's almost always one pattern paper that has a bunch of sayings or words on it that you can use as sentiments, which I did here. And that's a nice time saver and could certainly work. Now, the little scene with the 3 cakes or cupcakes or whatever, that was from another piece of the pattern paper, the little 6x6 pattern paper pad. And one of them had just, I think, 6 or 9. You can see some more up in the top of the screen. Just cute little sayings. Those would work great on tiny little cards if you wanted to give someone like a gift card, or since this was, of course, the February kit, I'm sure the idea was Valentine's Day and like the little Valentine's greetings that you used to exchange in elementary school or whatever. Either way, it works. Card number 3, I'm going to end up using one of my pre-colored coffee cups, and then I am going to stamp the tea bag image twice. I ended up only coloring it once and only needing it once. And then once I have it all done, what I'm going to end up doing is I'm going to cut a slit in the coffee or tea portion of the coffee cup, and the stamped tea bag is just going to kind of slip in there, and it's going to look like the tea bag is sitting in this, you know, of course, granted, the tea bag is a little bit oversized for the cup of coffee or cocoa or whatever, but yeah, it works. We're not going for realism here. That's why there's a happy face or smiley face on the coffee cup too. One other thing I did for this card, there was this great like graph or ledger paper, pattern paper that came in the kit, and it was fabulous, but it needed something else. So what I ended up doing was taking, I believe it's the Angel Pink Memento Dewdrop pad, and I stamped the Love Tea from among the sentiments, and I just stamped it kind of tone on tone with that paper, and it jazzed up the background a little bit without, I think, making it too busy. Oh, I'm also using tons of Helmar scrap dots on this card. They are my go-to dimensional adhesive of choice. And a lot of Memento Brilliance ink in, I think apropos, coffee bean. Yeah. It works really good with the pinks and blues for sure. Yep, here I am doing my tone on tone stamping. I could have done it before I'd stamped the sentiment, but I didn't think of it until afterwards, so, you know. Card number 4 is possibly my favorite card of this set of 8 that I made. I'm just doing some simple tone-on-tone stamping on the, craft colored cardstock that came in the kit, and with some desert sand memento ink. And it is freaking fabulous. I'm going to use the extra coffee cup die cut that I made, just do some very simple shading on it with my desert sand marker and pop it up with some zap dots, and that's really going to be it, until of course I wanted to kind of define the edges a little bit of the card front, and I boobered. I was running the brush tip of the marker around the edge, and my hand wobbled, and I got this like stray line up in the corner, because I was like, oh man, this really sucks, because I was totally going to leave it as it was, and had I only gone over it once, it would have been fine. But no, I decided to go back and hit it one more time, and yeah, I screwed up. So I took the coffee bean print and, just kind of made like a little tab. The other thing I could have done, I thought, was put the coffee bean print inside the card, or have done something similar, and then short trimmed the front of the card so that it was just kind of an offset. It is what it is. Now for this card, apparently I am going to talk you through these cards. I don't know what I was thinking. This card is just a very simple card. I'm going to use one of the printed items. I'm going to do some layering. I'm going to use some of the little dimensional stickers that were in the kit. Very quick card. Now, there were some embellishments in the kit that I had not used yet, including I'd used some of the little enamel dots and hearts, but I had not used the star confetti. Now, the star confetti, it almost screams out to be a shaker card. So, sometimes you just got to do what you just got to do. So I was like, okay, do I want to go pink? Do I want to go blue? Which pattern paper do I want to use? Because the stars are kind of a muted blue and a gold or silver, I was like, okay, we're going to do blue. And I'm using a stitched die, which meant that I have like a little stitched square that I can use on another project. You can't really see the stitching because it's inside the die cut, not outside the window. And I offset it so it kind of looks like a little Polaroid, whatever. I was not super careful with my gluing, and this is something, that tape runner is fabulous, but because it's so big, it is very easy to get kind of off where the little glue strips are going, the adhesive strips. And so I decided that, I'm not going to stress about it too much, that I'm just going to do my sentiment stamps on a separate piece of paper and make them into little flags, and it will cover a multitude of sins. And that's exactly what I did. Another mistake I made, I'm putting together the card and I am putting the adhesive on, and you'll see in a moment that I put the stars, the confetti among the, inside the window. And I'm thinking to myself, okay, this is fabulous. I'll put it all in there and then I'll lay the card base on top. Except that it's hard to position when you've got something larger going onto something smaller. And I didn't get it perfectly straight. I was thinking the whole time, maybe I should go ahead and put like another piece of white cardstock behind my shaker panel, and then I can affix the whole thing to the card front. And really, that's what I should have done, because this was such a pain to have to unstick and then kind of scoot all the stars into the center in a little pile. It's a pain in the butt, I'm telling you what. But, hey, all's well that ends cute. And I think this card did end up looking pretty cute. Again, I'm using two more of the coffee cups that I've already colored earlier in the process, and I'm going to, stamp my sentiments and add them as little flags, and life is going to be good. And then I'm going to add a couple more star confetti on either side of the you and coffee sentiment, part of the sentiment, just to kind of finish it out. And, I think, let's see, all told, I believe that these cards all took me maybe 2 hours total. I mean, I had to stop and start because of the batteries dying on my camera. I've really got to fix that. Gotta remember to charge them before I start doing something like this. But 2 hours for 8 cards is not a bad thing at all. I mean, if you had 2 hours every other week and you just sat down and you pulled out a stamp set and a pad of paper and went to town, think about how many cards you could have just sitting in a box waiting to send out to anyone who you thought might need a little pick-me-up, or there's a birthday coming up, or some other occasion. It's definitely worth the time and effort. And it was fun. It was just plain fun. Now, this last card, I realized I had not used any of these little bow paper clips that were in the kit, and I wasn't quite sure how I was going to use them. They didn't scream coffee and tea to me. I tried it with the panel that I'd cut out from the last card, but it wasn't quite working for me. So I went with this stripy paper. And I liked the idea of having the bows just kind of clipped onto the side as like a little attached element. You could, in fact, slip something else then into the front of the card, like if you wanted to add a little bit more personalization or something. I used one of the little stickers, one of those little dimensional stickers that was a tea bag. I kind of have it hanging off the lip of the to-go coffee cup, so make it like, oh, this is tea. It really is, because the sentiment that I hadn't used yet was a tea relative sentiment. And so I'm using the Delicata ink. Sometimes it worked really well on the pattern paper, otherwise it was a little bit faint, but it works fabulous for grabbing the embossing powder. So, and now this was just a very simple card, two-piece, just a piece of paper, an embossing, some elements just kind of put there because I hadn't used them yet, and a watercolored coffee cup, a little bit of pen detailing, and that was going to be it. But I will tell you, the one thing that, and this makes it my second favorite card, was that after I did the pen detailing on the card base with the pink, I decided that I would add a bit of a shadow to where the coffee cup was just kind of floating on the stripy paper, and that made the card it made the whole card. It's just, it's pretty doggone amazing. All right, so here are the cards that I made. I have this first one is just, this is card number 1. Isn't it cute? Card number 2. A little bit of dimension embossing there. Yeah, my workspace is messy. Card number 3, kind of a patchwork effect. Card number 4, yes, Mr. Tone on Tone, you are still my favorite. I love that little coffee cup. It's so cute. Card number 5, very, very simple. Simple is sometimes good. Card number 6. Card 7, the obligatory shaker. And card number 8. And I still had plenty of stuff left over after I was done. You guys, if you've ever kind of been curious about Simon Says Stamp card kits, go ahead, give one a try. I find them absolutely amazing and fun, and I hope you will too. Like I said, this is Jennifer Vanderbeek for scrapsoflife.com. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you've enjoyed this video. If you did, please give it a like or thumbs up on YouTube and subscribe to my channel for more videos just like this. All right, see ya. Bye-bye.